It's muted. Let's go. So we
Okay.
shouldn't stop at all.
No.
And for me, I'm gonna take care of that.
Okay, cool. I'll be sitting with you. All right. So can you hear my voice well in the back? Good. Brett says yes, and he would make fun of me if you couldn't. So, all right. Well, so thank you for coming. We're gonna get started today. I'm super thrilled that we have our first in-person AASPI meeting since 2019, if I'm correct. So I'm really glad that everybody traveled. It's making me very happy, and the students very happy also. So I think all of you know me. I'm Heather Beadle. So I'm the PI now that Kurt is emeritus. And I'm going to go through and just start with some introductions and some overview of AASPI. Here's my schedule. Wait, it didn't go down. Do I have to click? All right. Okay. So here's our schedule for today. It's kind of loose, so not like a conference schedule, but this is roughly what we'll be doing and roughly the times that we'll be doing them. So we'll have lunch brought in sometime around 11:30 or 12. And I just have like an hour and a half set aside for posters and lunch. And if you want to go and it's nice out and walk around campus or go visit some of your alumni, your old geology building haunts, you know, for those of you that haven't been to OU campus, that tall building right behind me is our geology building. And on the second floor, which is kind of a little bit underground, we have really cool rock displays and fossils and information about the geology of Oklahoma, if that's what you want to fill your brain with at lunchtime. And then also tomorrow's meeting, tomorrow we have our workshop planned. So starting at 9, but we'll start sharp at 9 tomorrow with workflows and demos in the 1010 lab. So it'll be in the tall building and you'll take the elevators up to the 10th floor, and me and various students and postdoc, and we'll all be there ready to talk and hang out a little bit more. Okay. I've got a couple breaks scheduled. If you need the restrooms, they're kind of out right out that door. You kind of go straight and a little bit to the right. I feel like from my days at Chevron, I should have a fire escape plan. Go out those doors that you came in down the stairway quickly. Don't take the elevators because you'll have trouble finding it. We used to always start every meeting with a safety moment, and I did not prepare one, but I'm 8 years out of there, so I guess it's wearing off. Okay, so we're going to be recording all but one of these talks. One of them has some more confidential data. So I'll post these on our new YouTube channel that I set up last week. But I'll also send out a post-meeting summary to our general AASPI list, and then you could pass it around to folks who weren't able to attend. We'll have all of our talks, and then I have some other talks that are recorded as kind of like supplemental talks for our annual meeting. So Satinder Chopra, who's one of our collaborators and is actually the one person allowed online today. He's joining us through Zoom today for parts of the meeting, but he recorded a nice talk. And then Corellia, Lamarca, and Diana just graduated, but they recorded some talks for us too. And they're now down in Houston getting set up in their new lives as not being students. And Marcilio is one of our AASPI PIs in Brazil, and he couldn't fly in, but he's going to have a talk in another week or so that will kind of show as an AASPI annual meeting talk with some of our updates. One of the things, I keep using the wrong button. So those of you that know me know that my favorite kind of part of coming to academia from industry is getting to work with other researchers and also with the students. So I love mentoring. And so, you know, we've got our principal investigators. You all know me. We've got Bo back in the corner from the University of Alabama. We've got Kurt Marfort, who's right there, almost front and center. Okay, yeah, I've got not wearing my bifocals, so I'm in the front too. But we've got Kurt Marfort, who started AASPI back in 2008. And then Marcilio, who I just mentioned. We did lose Sumit Verma, so he was at University of Texas Permian Basin. He took a job in industry. So he works for Endeavor now. So they're kind of out of the consortium for now, but we're hoping to add, somebody gets a faculty job and we can add another university, hopefully someday soon. That would be David, hopefully. Fingers crossed for him. Or he'll go off into industry and you guys will be lucky to have him. Okay, we also work with a lot of what we call affiliated researchers. And so these are folks who use AASPI, give us ideas. They're more not in the industry world. So they're helping us with algorithms and documentation. So we have Jit Bhattacharya, who's in the back. He'll be giving a couple talks. So he's with the BEG at the University of Texas and used to be up in Alaska when he first joined us. Satinder, I already mentioned. Rafael Perez de Lima is, wait, isn't he in Colorado now? I think I need to update this on the website, but he's in Colorado now working. And then Karen Oliveira is a professor down in Brazil. And one of her students, Elaine, raise your hand, we're still working on the paperwork, but she's going to be a visiting scholar for AASPI the next couple of years. And Karen and I have been talking a lot about trying to bring more students, up to Oklahoma for a year or two, trying to write some grants to get money to help with that so that we can have, kind of like a nice influx of students who get to do geology with her and geophysics with me and get to see, take some of our classes and the things that we offer here in Oklahoma. All right, and then we've got Dr. Lubo. So David got his PhD 2022. So he's been working as our postdoc. Since then, really making huge strides in what we have in the AASPI framework. So you'll see a demo of our 3D visualization if you haven't already tried beta testing it. And then one of the more exciting things is a chatbot to help you use AASPI better. So David's been working on this the last couple of weeks. And we're really excited because one of the things that I think we always need help with AASPI is getting more users started. So we imagined with generative AI, and some of the codes that are out there, David was able to put something together. And so he'll show you a demo of it and we'll keep improving on it over the next year or so. We've got to train it better, but it won't be trained on like the web. It'll be trained just on AASPI documentation. So it'll be specifically for our software. But in addition to being a very integral programmer and helping us keep everything going, he's doing a lot of research. He's got a couple of projects and you'll hear about one of them later on, doing some work with geothermal and CO2 sequestration, reservoir characterization. Let's see. And then we've got some of our PhD students. So Bobby Buist is in the back over there. He's a candidate who should hopefully graduate this spring or summer. So he's finishing up his projects. He's been doing some work with, some of his master's work was carbonate reservoirs for natural gas storage. And then for his PhD, he's been trying to see if we can use GPR data in AASPI. We did a field project out in Oklahoma collecting seismic data. It's not AASPI related. And then for his third PhD project, he's going to be doing, I don't know, what would you call it?
Self-supervised.
Yeah, so he's going to be testing that out because we've always thought it would be great if we could have a way to help classify the drill cuttings better. Let's see, Alex, I keep using the wrong button. Alex Vera is also one of our PhD candidates at OU. He'll be graduating, I think, this spring. He's done a lot of work. He's more of a rock physics guy doing inversion work. He helps run the 1010 lab that will be in tomorrow for those of you that are staying. And he'll be by later this afternoon. He's getting over a cold and, I just told him to stay away until later. And we've got Marcus in the middle there. So he is in his third year of his PhD. He's going to show his work later on today, so I won't talk about it too much. But he's funded by Petrobras. And so he's been using a lot of their data offshore, trying to test out different machine learning methods, how we can use them and improve our workflows in AASPI from attributes to supervised and unsupervised methods. And then can we transfer learning from one field into another field in the same vicinity, which has been going really well. April is our newest PhD student, way in the back. So she's just started, and she's got a poster that you could check out later. She's looking at adding a few new algorithms to identify channel facies is what she's working on now, the Romney data set that has like this beautiful channel. You can kind of see a picture right here. But she's testing out like TSNE and UMAP and a few other algorithms that we haven't incorporated in AASPI yet to see if there's something that we want to continue working on. And then Pamela is one of our master's students graduating this spring. She will have a talk later on today and has a lovely poster right up here in the front. She's been working with Kurt. I kind of gave her to Kurt, almost like Kurt needs students to work with. And so Kurt's been mentoring her a lot, looking at structurally oriented filtering, the spectral balancing that we have in AASPI now, and just seeing how we can apply those in a fault system in the Gulf of Mexico. Some of the pros and cons, and incorporating that then into machine learning. Evan Jowers is also in the back there. So he's a master's student, should be graduating the spring or summer. He just joined our group in the fall. And as a geologist, I kind of gave him the project of looking at the Maui field in New Zealand. If you're familiar with that, it has some lovely 4D data. And so his charge, and he'll have a short talk on some of his initial results and thoughts later this afternoon. His charge is just to see if there's ways we can use some of the existing AASPI algorithms and machine learning methods for 4D data. So, like ideally, I could talk forever. I shouldn't talk about everybody's projects and give it away, but like we're hoping to see if some of our attributes can help identify the swept facies or the ones that may be producing a little bit better. So that was his kind of science hypothesis that I let him take on. And then Jacob Mag is another student who just joined me last semester. He's in the Virgin Islands, had already booked tickets. So we do have a short talk that he recorded for us. So he's using high resolution 3D data right offshore Galveston in the San Luis Pass area, and applying our attributes for improved kind of channel morphology, trying to understand how the channels change through time. And he might add a little bit of machine learning in also if time allows, and he'll graduate this spring too. We also have He Tran, who many of you met when we checked in. He just started this fall, just graduated from University of Houston, and he's been using AASPI and Petrel to look at basement rocks and basement faults. So that'll be continuing on in a different area, some of the work that Diana Salazar was working on. And we have Diana's poster, I think on this side somewhere. Oh, no, back there, back behind Bobby. And then, her thesis is online too, so you could see what she did for basement faulting. And so his projects will develop more. We spent the semester learning interpreting seismic. And then, let's see, I'm going the wrong way. And then we have Yatao, who's a University of Alabama student about to finish his PhD. So you were at the last, I think you were one of the only people at the last actual meeting, right? Yep. So he was just getting started. Were you at the last one in 2019? Okay, so Bobby was there too. So we have a few that have been at an in-person meeting before. But Yatao's getting ready to finish at the University of Alabama, working with Bo in the back. And he's been doing a lot of projects for like picking faults and using deep learning. And you have a talk later on, or Bo's good. There's a talk later on about some of his work. Okay, so we graduated. Some of the successes from AASPI are your all's funding pretty much all goes to paying salary and a little bit of computer stuff, but not much. So we graduated 5 students this last year in 2023. So Laura Ortiz graduated in the spring and is now at BP. Mario Bolinas also graduated in the spring, and he's working for SLB, formerly known as Schlumberger. We've got Emily Jackson, who just started with Ovintiv, I think this month. And she graduated in the spring. She did some gas hydrates work with spectral attributes. Diana, I mentioned already, she graduated in December and is at Oxy now. And then Corelia Lamarca also got her PhD. So my first PhD student, I got one out. I'm so proud of myself. But it was easy with Corelia. But she just graduated also in December and is starting with BP next month. And so all of these students, I have some of their posters up. So you can see what work they've done, but I also have recorded presentations online. So if you want more details, and I have their master's theses, or I have their theses or dissertation talks, you know, anything you want to know about what they've done, just let me know and I'll send it your way. We also have been trying to expand our AASPI network. Jason Grumble was going to attend, but something came up last minute. So he works for Antora Geophysical, and we met him when he was doing some work for Matador last year. And he has been a great advisor, helping Kurt out a lot with designing algorithms and fixing up documentation and workflows. So you may see some stuff from him in the future, similar to the work that like Satinder has been doing with us. And then I've been focusing a lot on university collaborations because I want to share AASPI, you know, with all the students, so they all graduate and take it to their companies. But I've already mentioned the work we're doing with Karen down in Brazil, but we've been doing some work with Lorena Bello at the University of Göttingen in Germany, some geothermal work. They have data, and we're trying to use AASPI on their seismic data. We've got Beatriz, who's doing CO2 storage. She works for the kind of like the geologic the Spanish Geologics Survey in Spain. And so she's got a postdoc and a bigger group, you know, from different areas in Spain that are working on this project with us. And then we finished up some work with Frances for gas hydrates and fractures for her PhD work in Norway. So there's, you know, I've been talking to other folks also at other universities, just trying to get AASPI into other hands. The next few slides are just kind of things that most of you probably already know. Just a reminder that the consortium, you know, we provide you with our source codes when you're members, the documentation. You know, I always hear how we have some of the best documentation for any software package. We've also got the published papers, dissertations, you know, like we're here to help you understand what we're doing. You know, we've been recording more and more oral presentations. We've got some that we've also done in Spanish, as I have Spanish speaking students. They've been kind enough to kind of translate and give those. And then we're always happy to do software demos and short courses, whether virtually or in person. So like we're happy to come to your offices, you know, for a day or 2 hours, give lunch and learns. We do that with Devon a lot just because they're local. So it's easy to pop up there, but we're happy to come down to Houston or Dallas or wherever and chat more. So we also have, so Kurt doesn't believe me, but we actually have a new website in development. So it'll be the same URL. And he's like, you've been saying this for years, but I think we actually have it going. So we'll roll that out later this semester, but it'll be the same URL. It'll just match the other university websites and have a little more functionality. And I don't know, I feel like Kurt will have to bake me a cake or something when he actually sees it. Okay, so on our website now, you know, we have all the software documentation, published papers, you know, any information you need, just let me know. We try to get them up there as quick as possible. Some of them we're not allowed to share because of, you know, the copyright issues. But those we could email you. We can email them to you, the PDFs, or sometimes we point it to, you know, the link to interpretations or whoever won't let us share. And then we've got some workflows, some software demos and short courses online. Most of you have probably stepped through some of these at different points in time. If there's ever a workflow that you would like us to record something for, we're happy to do that. You know, I have all these students who, you know, would love to make a short 10-minute workflow of how to get started using structure-oriented filtering or something like that, or spectral coherence, multispectral coherence. Hold on, I'm saying not now to something that popped up on our computer. As you all know, there's a lot of different algorithms that we have in AASPI software that aren't available in other softwares. So we always like to highlight that. Some of our favorite ones I'm going to mention on the next slide, but structurally oriented filtering and spectral balancing, you'll hear a lot about at this meeting today, because we've been doing a couple projects on them and publishing some papers with them. Multispectral coherence is one of my other favorites of the year. I was telling David, I was like, I feel like I should put in like my top 4 favorite things of 2023. So I just kind of highlighted the ones that I wanted to focus on, but the multispectral coherence, I think we have a talk with that later today. If not, I've got video recordings of other talks, and you'll see that some students have used it in its poster. So instead of just running coherence on the full bandwidth, you can look at, you know, the low frequency, the high frequency. You could kind of pull out the different spectral voices, and it really shows up different features. Another one I wanted to highlight is aberrancy. So this has been one of my favorite attributes for the last year or two. Getting a lot of use as people are interested in faults and fractures. We've been using it a lot for basement work, and JIT will have a talk that covers aberrancy, and I think you could see like Diana's got some back in her poster, and I can't remember if we have it in some other ones. So that's been one of our favorites. The spectral balancing and structurally oriented filtering. Kurt's going to talk about it a little bit, I think, and Pamela also, and we've got Pamela's poster over there. And then SHAP is an explainable AI method that we have in the software now, and this is fabulous. Like, I think David got, what was it, top 3 interpretation papers? He got an honorable mention for his publication and interpretations for this. And what this is explainable AI tries to kind of go in the black box and tell you which attributes are important. And so I always think when we talk to management, or at least I remember, you know, I was like the crazy nerdy geophysicist, and management is just like, well, what does this even mean? Like, what is it doing? And especially as we start using machine learning more and more, you know, there's more questions about, well, do we really know what's going on? And so SHAP will allow us to, at least, you know, within our software, it allows you to see, okay, well, you know, I forget what this example was for, but like, you know, total energy is most, you know, the most important feature or attribute for this algorithm or the result. Dip deviation is also important, but the GLCM entropy is down towards the bottom, so it's not being weighted that much. And so this is a nice way to kind of look into the machine learning and see how the different attributes or features are being weighted. So I keep wanting to talk that up more. We're using it, like Marcus has used it. Quite a few students have used it in their work, but we want to get it out there for all of you to use. So we've got a lot of accomplishments. These I've emailed out to you, so I won't go over them because I'm talking more than I plan to. But you know, we've had a lot of accomplishments. We've got a lot of things planned. One thing I wanted to mention is I put up old school paper over here in the corner of things you would like us to see in AASPI. You know, like, so if you have any ideas, like, please write them down throughout the day. I am bringing in, like, as you mentioned, as you probably heard me mention, I've got a lot of students graduating this year. And so I'm bringing in hopefully a decent sized new crop of eager grad students in the fall. And so we'll be designing new projects that will help out AASPI in the best way. I know I've got one guy who's really interested in coming. He wants to work more on inversion and inversion products. I mean, we won't do inversion in AASPI. We cannot compete with Hampson, Russell, and all of that. But we're going to see how we can combine a little bit more rock physics, a little bit more well data into AASPI also. So project ideas, and if you've got data for projects, like, shoot me an email. That's one of our biggest problems as academics, is getting the best data to do the projects with. Sometimes I just have to scrap by with Gulf of Mexico free data that's 25 years old. Let's see, we're also, I mentioned the generative AI chatbot that David's going to demo later this morning. Corellia is also trying to put together an AASPI attribute matrix. So we've seen those for like Paradise software.